But I ended up cashing for 114, which is larger than the amount of money I lost to Berkey and crew on the stream show. So
a net gain for the week.
It's a weird, fun diagram on my spreadsheet, but yeah, it's just like whoop, wee, almost even.
Me and my buddy, we make it all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us lacking. Me and my buddy, we working hard.
All right, guys, welcome back. Table One Podcast. Co-host Jesse Young, other co-host Art Parman.
That's me.
And our guest is, no, sorry, we don't have one today. Sorry.
You can tune out now if it's just going to be us.
But no, this will be a fairly quick one. We're just going to do a year in summary and kind of like going back for those that have been with us for over a year. Our year in summary last year. Sorry, a little mumbling there, but we had some predictions, some like thoughts about how this podcast was going to grow and go during 2024, and we made it, which is fucking amazing, by the way. I mean,
look at us, a year commitment complete.
So first and foremost, guys, thank you guys for listening. Like honestly, like it's a humbling experience to like show up to play poker in a tournament or a cash game, and people like, I like your podcast, what you guys are doing. It's different, it's fun. I don't know if we ever intended it to be as cool as it is, but like I feel like it's pretty cool.
I feel like it's pretty cool too. Yeah. In a nerd kingdom, it's cool.
That's right. We're in a very small pond, but we're a small fish in there. We're battling.
We haven't gotten swallowed up by any big bass or anything. Big bass. I don't know, Ingrams or anything like that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The big boys of the pond.
Speaking of which, I think we're gonna get Ingram soon. I think we will.
Yeah, he came up in the hallway. He had this camera crew following around, or like one guy with a camera. It was really kind of weird, actually. It looked kind of awkward because he's like going around just talking to people or whatever about WPT or whatever he's doing, and like he was in the hallway, and I was wearing the patch. I was like, oh, I know that guy. I basically forced him to turn around and look at me. And there's the camera guy is there, and he was kind of like in his nicest way was just like, like, hey, yeah, it's a Table One guys. You guys are doing good things. And I'm like, thank you. We are doing good things, and you're gonna be on soon.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch, guys. So
they'll know who we are after the GPI awards.
That's right. We'll be there in our dresses.
You're damn right.
And in tuxedos. Yeah, no, it was a great year for the pod. For those that don't know, last year we did an episode just like we're about to do now, where we went through and kind of talked about the game, our favorite moments of the year in the podcast. It had started only a few months prior, so we only had a few guests to choose from. And I think the overall choice for us last year was actually you audibled to our origin story, I think. That was your favorite, which if you haven't watched it, the audio quality is not as good, but the story is the deepest detail you're going to get of Justin and I's beginning in poker. So that's episode 1, where we filmed it, not at Table One. We were somewhere else.
we were definitely not at Table One. I know that. But no, like it's a good one. Like to Art's point, like the audio is not the best, but like I've had a few people come up to me and it was like, why don't you guys ever talk about yourselves and your own origin story? And I know I sprinkle my own stuff in there, Art does as well. But like, if you actually just want to delve into it, so you can get rid of like wondering how two idiots like this got to adulthood and still alive and kicking in the poker community, it's a great one to watch. But since the new year, we've had a guest on, I think every single week except for one. Is that right?
Maybe 2, 1 or 2. I can't remember the one that I did by myself, if that was last year.
That's true. I think it's 2. But still, that's amazing for a couple like child men or what.
It's true. You don't know how often I'm just like texting or DMing on Twitter every single person I can think of that's in town and just like, hey man, free in an hour for a podcast. Yeah. Not the best planning. So if anyone out there is like a starving artist and we can't afford to pay you, but if you want to help us organize and produce some of these shows, I could use some help getting some guests on from time to time.
But that being said, we've had some amazing ones on this year. To me, the list is a little bit like hard to recall just because it all kind of meshes together. But a few of my favorites, the ones that kind of stick out to me. Number 1 is the Maury Escondani one. If you like old school poker stories, I know we don't have a whole lot of guests on that have that fingerprint on the old school. But he does a really good job of it. And to me, it's one of my favorites and one of what I feel is like the most underwatched ones we've had.
Yeah, that one was really fun. He had some really funny stories going back to when he was playing poker professionally. And side note, he let us film in the PokerGo studio for that one. So we are at the table. I've got my phone on the table, just pointing at us. And Maury is a big hand talker. So every time he's telling a story, he whacks the table, and then every once in a while the screen vibrates a little bit. But backdrop quality is great because we're in the actual the studio. So that was a really fun one to shoot. My favorite one of the year. Well, I wouldn't say my favorite, but just to me, underwatched crosses. Everybody's got a Venn diagram of shit that they like. You know, we got poker. And I love just learning about business stuff in general. And happy anniversary to us! Balloons on the thing. I still haven't figured out how to use QuickTime after all these years. But anyways, that Venn diagram that crosses between poker and business always intrigues me. And having guests like Jonathan Little on and kind of going into his business and poker in general was fun, but the episode that I'm actually thinking of is the Cole South episode.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Where he came on. It's only got a couple thousand views, but Cole South, high stakes legend, tells some very good public speaker, I'm guessing, because he was he rattled off his story like he had been interviewed a lot of times, which probably he has.
He probably has, yeah.
But he went into his getting out of poker and into business story, how you can do it if you're a professional poker player that's looking for a side hustle or looking for basically any other way to invest some of your time outside of poker. And I don't know, it was just really interesting to me. I kind of regret not going into the heads up Isildur battles
right.
and the controversy around that, but I honestly forgot that he was even a part of that until we had Hastings on last week or whatever it was.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I think it was last week, I believe. But yeah, speaking of John Little, just a quick shout out to him. I feel like we should almost do an after hours because we have some amazing conversations with people after the cameras turn off. And he literally gave me a year free subscription to his learning website.
PokerCoaching.com.
There we go, PokerCoaching.com. Very useful. But no, I actually used it, and I just quick little shout out. But one of my favorite lines from Mr. John Little was Justin, I just want you to start winning again. And at first I was a little offended, but I was you know what, it can't hurt. So I got some nice coaching from Jonathan Jaffe and John Little and Shannon Shore, Saliba. All those guys are great.
And then he made a final table.
Damn right.
The Prime 1K final table he made, and it was bittersweet because the week prior he lost 100K in the WPT Cash Game, just getting absolutely bent over by Mr. Berkey with his 10-inch pocket 10s.
his pocket dicks is what we call them, yeah.
Yeah, he hit a 10 on both boards and sent you steaming and spiraling out of control.
Yeah. For those of that don't know the story, basically I signed up for this stream game. It was a Squid Game, so I knew it was going to play big, but I didn't know exactly how big because I don't have a lot of experience with the Squid Game. And I actually talked to Berkey right before, and I was like, do you have any strategy? I didn't do any actual homework. He was like, I just know it's going to be a shit show, and I'm going to embrace the variance.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's the way to do it. And he came out swinging, and he had control over the table. And I watched the next two episodes, the entire 3 days. But in the meantime, I was not ready for the variance. And after I lost that pot to Berkey, I then decided to bluff off with 6 high in a 140, 150K pot against Marcus. And then after I lost that, I was a very, very sad man. I basically, for those who don't know, I basically didn't quit the stream, but I took a break. I went to the bar and thought about if I wanted to buy back in. Decided I wasn't going to. I came back in, tail tucked firmly between my legs, and sheepishly picked up my chips and left. And I was supposed to play the following day, and I showed up just to talk to him face to face. And I was like, "Look, guys, the game's just too big for me. I didn't realize how big it was because people were swinging 6 figures like it was nothing. So I again tail showing right between my crotch. I was just like, I'm out. But I was already down at the Wynn, so I was like, what am I gonna do? What's something that can be fun? So I decided to hop in a $1,000 tournament at the Wynn, which is
the Prime, the
Yeah, the
WPT Prime, with like 26 starting days,
Yeah.
9,600 players. Before we go into that, though, I had a question because I know the Squid Game we play the stand-up game from time to time in our game, which is just like you get a knit button, or the knit game it's also called, and then, you know, for those that don't know, when you win a pot, you get rid of your button, and then at the end, one guy pays some bounty to everybody. But what's the difference between the Squid Game and the regular stand-up game for me? Because like I actually don't.
Yeah, sure. I don't think you actually ever played it. I think we played it once at table one, but it's a variation which plays a bit. The stand-up game already plays almost like a 2x of like the whatever game you're playing. I would say the Squid Game adds another 50%, if not another 100% on top of it, where it's going to play 3x. So basically what it is let's just pretend we have eight people at the table. So we're going to go, you add 2 to it, so you got 10 buttons.
Okay.
Number of people plus 2. You have 10 buttons, so you're going to play 10 hands. The winners of those hands are going to get a button, all right? At the end of those 10 hands, if you don't have a button, you're going to owe X amount to those people. So for the game I played, it was decided beforehand it was going to be $500 a button. So if you lost and you're playing 8-handed, you're giving out $5,000, just 500 at a time. Now, if you get a button, but there's going to be multiple people that obviously haven't won a hand. So if at the end you don't have one, you and Art and another guy don't have a button, you're paying out $5,000 every single time, which is very stressful. Okay. And if you get one, I mean, you're getting $500 from all the people that don't, but like it's.
So the main thing is just you're not losing 5K. Like the 500.
Exactly, the 500 is kind of like nonchalant, but what makes things a little bit more high variance is if you get half of the buttons or more, then you just automatically just get paid from everybody, except for the people with buttons. So like, if you're able to get to that magical number, then all of a sudden, even if you have a button, you don't owe me anything, but you get zero money.
Okay.
So it's very very intense because like once you get one, it's not like you're like, oh, thank God I got one, now I can just sit back and relax. No. Like the goal is now to keep on winning and keep on winning. Not just because you're getting $500 more every time you win a hand from multiple people and blocking people from getting their own buttons, but if you get to that magical number of half, then like you're basically like ending the game and you're forcing multiple people to give you $5,000.
So the game just ends like right at the 5th button, and then that's it? Or like if you win the first 5 hands, all of them?
Correct.
How much do you win?
It's 5,000 times
each player.
8 or 7.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So like your incentives to play every pot and play them aggressively is very it's incentivized, and like Berkey did a very good job of that. He got to that halfway mark multiple times, and he fucking tried the rest of the times. Like he gave tons of action and he ran really good. But in addition to that, a couple of the people that were playing the stream wanted to play bigger. So they lost the first few like Squid Games. They lost a couple of big pots to Berkey or someone else. Rips, I think, like beat someone in a big pot, and it was just like, let's just double it. It's already playing close to like 300, 600. Let's just double it. And so it's like now all of a sudden we're playing 100, 200, 400 with $1,000 squid ante. So now we're talking, for our game specifically, $9,000 every time you lose. So like all of a sudden.
So you guys got bullied into accepting that, or you specifically did?
Well, I mean, I think everyone was kind of in the same boat outside of, maybe I was by myself, honestly, but like I don't even know if I was rolled for the first part, but I definitely wasn't rolled for the second part. But it's like, you have 2 people that are losing infinite money. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? You're like, no, I'm putting my fist down here. Like, I've played enough private games to know that's not the answer.
Yeah.
There's more trying to be like, okay, let's just sun run for our life here and like see if we can pull it out of our ass.
All right, real quick. Do you have crypto just sitting in a crypto wallet doing nothing? Then you've probably never heard of Gauntlet. Gauntlet.xyz is a $1 billion research company that manages risk for huge internet platforms like Uniswap, Arbitrum, Jupiter, and a ton of other ones. And how can they help you? They actually curate these things called crypto vaults. And what's a crypto vault? Well, you just put your crypto in, you get an interest rate. The interest rate depends on the supply and demand of that particular token that you put into there. It's kind of complicated, but their algorithms make it like 1,000 poker solvers are working on your side. And you get a return on crypto that was just sitting in your wallet anyway. Here, let me show you how it works. I've got 800 USDC here. I'm gonna put it into this USDC vault. The current interest APY is a little over 9%. So I'm gonna get that for a little bit and I can take it out whenever I want. Now, as you can see, they have a bunch of different vaults, a bunch of different tokens. Do your own research on all of this, which one appeals to you, but definitely don't let your crypto just sit in your wallet doing nothing. It could be here earning for you. So if you've got USDC or USDT, which if you're a poker player, you probably do, you're gonna wanna have it sitting in one of these vaults earning something for you. So head on over to gauntlet.xyz/T1 and it'll take you right to the vault page. You'll be able to check out which one looks good to you. All right, back to the show.
As much as I didn't like it, this is kind of the reason that the Wynn doesn't allow straddling in their games anymore. At least their lower to mid stakes games. It's just like you get bullied into playing what you didn't sign up for. I mean, most gamblers, like myself included, we play at the limit of our bankroll. Like almost always, we're not John Littling it up with 100 buy-ins here.
No. It's usually like, that's a lot of money, but I should win here. Oh, this is now become all of my money. It's fun.
Yeah, it's way less money, but now it's such a higher percentage.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it. You sign up for 2-5, you brought $2,000 on your poker trip, and now all of a sudden you're playing 2-5, 10, 20, and you're all in. So respect to the Wynn for putting their foot down and being nits on their lower stakes game. I hope you still let people do stuff in your higher stakes game, but I really have no idea because I don't play over there except for tournaments.
Which are great.
Speaking of, let's get back to the Prime.
So either way, I go into the Prime kind of looking to just shit on people. I'm not gonna lie, there was no like, oh, let's just play tight, kind of find your game again. Like I felt like I was playing good before this. Obviously the Berkey hand with aces versus tens, ran it twice, lost 140K pot. Very sad about that. But like even that withstanding, like I was like, I think I'm playing pretty good. So I was just like, I'm gonna take every spot. I don't care. Every river decision, if I think I'm bluffing, I'm bluffing. Every 3-bet decision, I'm 3-betting. Every 4-bet decision, I'm 4-betting. It was just like, let's just go balls to the wall. And like, I ran hot, got the bluffs through I somehow needed to for essentially 3 days, in all honesty. Like, they put me on the stream on day 3, late in day 3, where everyone was playing perfect GTO, and there was a lot of really good players in there. And I was like, well, I know they know GTO way better than I do. How do you counteract GTO? I was like, oh yeah, you just shit on people. So I was just like, if I open and someone 3-bets, I was like, he's not gonna risk it right now. Like, there's a 10K pay jump. He's not gonna risk it even with ace queen here. Like, just put it in his eye or whatever. He's not gonna call for 2 10s. Let's put it in here. And like I did that multiple times. And granted, I think I kind of danced through the raindrops. Found some people that were actually light and not actually making big laydowns.
Yeah, my favorite was the one on the stream where you stuck it in Patrick Trong's eye with Queen 9 off. And I'm actually friends with Patrick, and I played with him the next day. For those that didn't see the hand, I'll try to clip it and put it in here if that's allowed. But it basically it's a pretty standard hand when you think about it. It's 16 players left in the Prime. Justin's got, like 30 blinds, 35 blinds, something like that?
35, yeah, I think.
He opens up the Queen 9 offsuit, cut off or button, can't remember. Button, Patrick's in the small blind, shoots it up with ace 9 off to some number, doesn't matter. Big blind gives him the old starey dare for a minute, and then gets back to Justin, who takes about, I don't know, I'm gonna say 15 seconds. I think he's just honestly didn't want to do it too fast to make him think he was bluffing, and he stuffed the whole pile of bricks in his eye, and Patrick gave the old courtesy glance back at the hand and shot it into the muck. There was some controversy about that hand, by the way. I asked Patrick about it, because he like had his cards or whatever, and like when he grabbed him, one kind of like flipped up a little bit. Like it definitely flipped up in Justin's direction. But the funny thing about it is. I posted the hand online on Twitter for us, and I forgot who commented, but somebody commented like, it looked like Justin might have seen that card. And so I mentioned it to Patrick because I was curious. Yeah. And he said, you know what's funny? That was my card in my left hand, and I double checked it. And the actual only reason that I still 3-bet is because that was the ace. So if he did see it, it was the ace, and it would be retarded to go all in.
Believe me, A, I didn't see it. B, I saw some of the comments, so I was just like, oh, I sure shit didn't see it. That was
right. So I mean, either way, it's funny, and it's much funnier this way. So thanks, Patrick, for you know, reverse calling Justin a scumbag, not uncalling
Yeah,
him a scumbag.
uncalling me, taking the scum off my bag.
Not that that would really be scummy in my opinion. I mean, fucking, you show your hand and somebody goes all in, like.
But that'd be boss if you like, oh, I saw the ace, by the way, I'm all in.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Even if he flashed a deuce and you saw it and went all in, like, what are you gonna do at that point?
Fair enough. But no, I didn't see it. Believe me, like, we got to play a little bit before that as well, and like, I knew when I opened the button, he's going to 3-bet kind of wide. So I was already kind of like braced for it. I was just like, all right, here it comes. Because like even the big blind, I can't remember his name. He was the guy that went on to win it. I think his name is Zach.
Yeah.
I think he went on to win it. He's quite aggressive as far as 3-betting goes. I was kind of bracing myself for what I was going to do with the queen I know. Because like, you can't just like open a quality hand and get pushed off of it in my mind. And I was like, you know what? If Patrick 3-bets me and like I thought I had like a timing tell on him, like I don't think it's right, but like I thought I did at the time, which all that matters. I was like, if he does it in this cadence, like I'm gonna 4-bet rip. And to Art's point, as soon as he did it, I was like, okay, how long am I gonna wait before I put this in his eye? And I was just like, big blind tanked for a while and folded. And I was like, okay, how long? I'm like looking off the distance, like I'm pretending to do math. I was like, oh, how many blinds? Oh, what's the pay jump here? Oh, it's okay. Wow. That's like 10K. That's a lot of money. Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna play this hand. Whoop! Just put it in there. And like, believe me, like just like anyone else that's ever bluffed before in their lives, all you're doing is counting to 1. You get past 1, you feel okay about yourself, as long as they don't go, oh, call. How much? Call. That is call. Which is what happened to me when I busted. But like after I got that one through, I felt good. I was able to make the final table, the final 9. I think it came in 7th in chips with like 25, 30 blinds, or it was right around 30 blinds, I believe. I was looking for some ladders. The short stacks kept on getting some all-ins through, and sometimes the chip leader opens and you look down at Ace King of Diamonds with 29 blinds, and you're just like, well, I'm not folding, so that's out of the question. I think I have to turn in my poker card if I just call here. I was like, I said I was going to play this tournament kind of balls to the wall or whatever, so I just like 3-bet rip 29 blinds, which I think is perfectly proper. I'm not trying to defend it as if it's like questionable. And he just happened to have 2 black aces, and that's all she wrote basically. Would have been nice to ladder up and get another 40, 50, 60, $100,000. But I ended up cashing for 114, which is larger than the amount of money I lost to Berkey and crew on the stream show. So
a net gain for the week.
It's a weird, fun diagram on my spreadsheet, but yeah, it's just like whoop, wee, almost even. Actually, after the main event, which I did not cash in, I am pretty well even actually.
But he did bag some chips going into 3K.
That is true. Yeah.
Day 2 of the last chance, basically, for the WPT series. I actually went and late regged it and busted. I had the toughest table I've ever played at in my whole life. It was like ridiculous how tough it was. And I was just looking around and like, who? Somebody busted, and I looked at the guy at the floor and I grabbed the little card, even though they don't use the C cards anymore. And I was like, hey, can you find Phil Ivey for us? Like, we need a little bit more toughness on this table. So.
Yeah. There were definitely some tough tables in that tournament. I think I got lucky. I had one really tough table. Outside that, it wasn't that bad. But like I was reading through some of the names today, the people that bagged. Jesus Christ! Like it's gonna be tough.
A minefield of GTOs to step over. GTO grenades.
Yeah, and the chip leader was Ethan Yu, who is Rampage. For those who don't know.
Is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Who was also on the show like 3 months ago, 2 months ago?
He was on this show, and he was also on the WPT show the day after you were on it.
That's true.
And
he got punished more.
He left in dramatic fashion. That was hilarious.
He was on there the 3rd day and left early too. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I know he ripped off his mic pack, and he almost like Phil Hellmuth did on the table, and he had walked away when he was all in before the flop came out with 2 live cards. And he was right to walk away because he bricked. But that's cool. He's the chip leader.
Yeah, he's got almost $1 million in chips. But yeah, so either way, I don't even see what the number is up top. It's got to be north of 600K, probably 750 be my guess. Shout out to the Wynn, by the way. The floor staff's amazing. The dealers are very much above average. I don't know. I think they do almost everything perfect. Like I love that place. Not that I'm boohooing any other place. I'm just giving props where props are due.
Yeah, for sure. I hope they, I don't know, somehow win the WSOP bid some did
Yeah.
to now that it's like GG owned. Once Caesar's license runs out to facilitate it, they might actually get it. I mean, they have like great ballroom spaces. I think they probably have enough room back there. I didn't really even know. Casinos are fucking crazy. You go in and you think the entire thing is the casino floor, and then you're like walking past 26 restaurants, and then you're like into this maze of convention halls and ballrooms, and it's just like, you guys don't make enough money on the casino floor. You're renting these shits out too for for fucking Elon's wedding, or like, who's paying for this stuff? They always look empty.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, no, definitely shout out to the Wynn for an awesome series. I only played the main event in this 3K, but I had a good time. And you know, if you go to the gift shop, you can buy Atomic Duck. So.
That's very true as well. Another good thing, I showed up. I couldn't remember my PIN number when I was playing video poker. I had like $50 free play or whatever, so I locked myself out. Had to go, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you have about $1,000 in like comps. If you need to use them by March." I was like, "What did I do in March?" It's like, I don't remember going on this like gambling spree in March, but thank you. And like, so yeah, I've been every break I've been running to the bar, and I'm like, "McAllen 18, please." And they're like, "Well, sir, that's going to be $80." Like, I got it.
That's actually pretty sick. They didn't tell me anything. I wasn't DJing enough. Although I did have $10 of free slot play, and
I bet you have a couple hundred.
Yeah.
I think you'd be shocked. I think they give some stuff for poker. I'm at, like, and drunken video poker, I'm guessing, because that's the only thing else I do there.
Oh, check it out. Maybe I can go sign on my account. All right, sorry. So where were we? You did the Prime. You're about to win this 3K. You'll probably be in some of Rampage's videos along the way.
It's probably true.
How about just the table one for the year? You know, I feel like we had a really fun year. I didn't win very much money, but and by very much I mean pretty sure I lost money. But so you know, click like and subscribe, because this is it. This is the only revenue that we got this year, guys.
But no, table one went great this year. Like, honestly, we played quite a bit in the spring, and definitely I think it was every day in the summer, along with some two tables, like running two different games at the same time. It was a blast. And then I think both Art and I made just a kind of a life decision to like not run as many games, just gonna go with like happiness over like volume. And we cut it back a little bit, but like, we're still running like, 3 games a week of like really good, fun action. We've met a lot of good people, a lot of amazing personalities, that's for sure.
Yeah, we got a handful of guys that come out like 3 times a year basically and spend the weekend with us and gamble with us. And it's honestly just a blast. We got to go to the Raiders game in a suite.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to our good friend Wayne for hooking that up. And his business partner.
Yeah.
It's a slow day in business, so they invite the Table One crew down there, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. We got to watch the Broncos against the Raiders.
Crush.
And they crushed. It was cool. What else did we get up to this year? We had, like you said, every day in the summer we played.
We took an afternoon off for the 4th of July party.
We did. We had the 4th of July party here. That was fun. Fireworks everywhere. One of my friends went home and burnt his house almost down after that day. He just tried to do fireworks at his own house, and leave it to the degenerate non-professionals to take care of that. But speaking of summer, we made some predictions last year in this very episode about how the summer would go for, not really for us. We kind of said what we would do. I said I'd play 20 to 40 tournaments this year.
That's a big window.
It is a big window.
It's tough to miss that window.
I actually looked at my stats right before we had this episode to see, and I was like, there's no way I played more than 10. And 19 apparently I played, and I think I just only cashed one, basically.
Which is good for him, honestly. Like, we should all be proud of Art.
Yeah, it was the Wynn main event, man. I cashed it. I min-cashed the shit out of that thing. And I turned my losses from whatever it was to I only lost 23K in tournaments this year. So not bad.
It really isn't. I don't think I predict myself. Like, actually, I probably did. I can't remember what I said. I probably said something similar, like 20 to 30 tournaments, which I'm pretty sure I met. I started out a little hot, I guess. I ran deep in the 25K, but it was still kind of a min cash.
Didn't you win PokerGo?
That was January of last year. I won a 5K PokerGo kickoff. The hand is fantastic. 2 8s versus, I believe it was kings and queens. Those idiots playing those big cards, and they were within like half a blind of each other, and like I had them both covered, and they're like talking about like what's going to happen, you know, like if my king's hold, if the king's hold, like okay, you're going to have 1 chip left, and if you do this, and who's going to get second place? And I was just like, what if an 8 just comes? And they're like, stop, an 8's not going to come, and just a window card, beautiful 8. And it was great. It was 2 amazing players. I think it was David Coleman and Kristen Foxen. So 2 people that definitely have me outclassed. But, you know, sometimes luck's on your side, which is nice.
Yeah, and I was going to get to this later, but since we're speaking of the PokerGo Kickoff Series, they're going to have the Kickoff Series again, January 20th to the 24th, I think. They're all 2-day events, I believe, and they're going to stream all the final tables. And what happens after that, Justin?
After whatever super pro awesome person like wins the tournament, they're giving us the stream, like the final table. They're giving us the table to do whatever we want with it. So
we're gonna do some shit.
Table 1 is gonna take over PokerGo stream after the final table is done, and we are going to play cash games. So if you guys are interested in playing cash games with us, please reach out. Art reads all the texts and emails, and so I don't have to. And then we're basically going to put together a lineup. It's going to be somewhere between 25-50 and 100-200.
Yeah, if you want the details, just listen to this ad right now.
All right, guys, quick break. We just wanted to promote the fact that we got a nice invite from PokerGo Studios to run a Table 1 stream game from the January 21st to the 25th, 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. while they're running their PGT series. If you want to sign up,
you just go to table1.vegas/PokerGo and you fill out the form. We are going to be streaming every day from the 21st to the 25th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. The reason we're streaming then is because they are going to be streaming all of their final tables from the Kickoff series, PGT, and after those are over, we're taking over. Oh, wait, 25, 50, 100. You know, no limit hold'em, and we might even have like one of those little wheels that you spin as weird shit happens. We might do weird shit for you guys. Just you could be part of the weird shit with us. So just sign up now. And we're back.
But no, come out, guys. Like you guys should play the tournaments as well. Like there'll be a lot of people chasing the $1 million free roll that PokerGo has set up for their high roller series. So it'll be quite the buzz, and a lot of people firing multiple shells, trying to eke their way into their top 40 so they can have their chance at $1 million.
So how does that work? Because Jeremy Osmus was at my table yesterday, and he was talking about it, and it's just like, it's hard to listen to him talk about it because he's just like, somebody else was asking him questions about like the PGT or the GPI, whatever he's doing that he's crushing right now, and he's like, there's like no one that can catch up to him even if they win like every event that's left in the schedule this year. So how does the free roll thing work that you're talking about? Okay,
so I'm going to screw up some details, and I apologize in advance. So basically, what happens is the top 40 people they accumulate points in 10Ks or bigger, and like they allow some 5Ks to count as well. So, but like basically, it's 10Ks around the world and bigger, including on the Tritons, PGT stuff, like main events. And then like a handful of the 5Ks count, and you accumulate points. Now the top 40 people basically have free roll seats into the PGT free roll, and I think it's $1 million. It could be more, it might be more, but like how many chips you start with is based on where you finish. So there's a PGA event at the end of the year. Excuse me for like not remembering it, but like basically if you're number 1 ranked in the world, you start at -10, and then like the second is -9, and so on and so forth. So like in this event, if you're number 1 PGT wise, you start with like 200 blinds. The next guy might start with 175 blinds, and so on and so forth till you get down to 40th, who starts with maybe like 50 blinds.
I see.
So it's like a weighted thing. So even if you're locked in your 19th place, you can't get knocked out of this free roll. You're still itching. You want to get more blinds for this free roll because it's a lot of money up top.
Okay, I thought you just misspoke when you said PGA, but that's what they're modeling it after.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what that's. It's like the PGA. It's not the championship, but it's the FedEx Cup. That's what it is. Where basically where you finish is like you get like a head start on your opponents the better you finish in the regular season.
I like this. I mean, I'm not plugged into the tournament scene, so I didn't even hear about this. Yeah. But now that I know about it, it's kind of cool. It's not going to motivate me to do anything. I mean, I'm not going to go out there and compete with Jeremy Osmus, but
yeah, there's a lot of people, not only people that are ranked 50th or 44th or whatever, that are itching their way to get into the top 40, which are plenty of those. But you also have people that want more blinds. So like, why wouldn't you, like, if you have infinite money, just hypothetically, if you're a Scott Seaver or something like that, like, why not like go fire multiple bullets, only carrying about like, you know, inching yourself closer and closer to like, you know, the free roll money, $1 million.
That's going to be, I mean, from like a Brainiac fan perspective, that's going to be a fun tournament to just watch, just because everybody's going to be so good that's in it.
Yeah, and like I do plan on playing at least 1 or 2 of them. I know we had the cash game stuffs afterwards. I don't think I'll last that long. But like the reason being is like these guys, they're happy to fire like multiple bullets, so they're going to get it in light. They're going to like bluff off more. You know, they're probably going to call wider. It's going to be.
That's still this year coming up?
January. Yeah, January. The kickoff series is.
Oh, that is that.
I think it's that, and then like on the back end of that, that's when they do the free roll.
Oh, okay. So that's like your last chance to get the points.
I think so. Yeah, that's right.
They should name it something else then.
Oh shoot, you're right. I could be wrong on that. There's a chance there's like another series early in January that they do that for, and then have a kickoff.
Gotcha.
But anyway, still come out. It'll be the same thing.
I mean, I like the concept. I hope that's successful for them because.
Me too.
Because if people don't watch, they're not going to give away free money. But
yeah, Kerry Katz, shout out to him. Like he's done a great job. He has kind of tried to, I wouldn't say mimic, but like incorporate a lot of things the PGA does. Like, you know, you can see with the Poker Masters, like, you know, he calls his events kind of like the same thing as like the golf majors or whatever, and he's kind of trying to be emblematic of that, which is, I think, quite smart.
Well, I remember back a long time ago, he had told you about it, right? The first idea for Poker Central was like modeled after Golf Central, and he wants to basically golfify poker and turn it in, because it's the same kind of thing.
It is. It just lacks the sponsors. I mean, like, you know, those guys don't. You know, Scotty Scheffler's not putting up $50,000 to go play, you know, in the Masters or anything like that. He's getting sponsored in, free rolled in.
The tricky part is there's no like big equipment market for poker. There's no like Titleist of poker. I mean, they have like I guess they have these like training sites, but like that's not the same thing, you know. I mean, kind of it is, but like people aren't spending as much money. It's like niche golf, you know. We can't have it as big, but we could still have fun. I
mean, the Epic Poker back in the day, like the scam that it was, they had a similar model where their goal was to basically be able to free roll people into events and treat it like a golf event. Yeah. And like hopefully like a Chrysler or, you know, an Apple would like come in and be like, oh yeah, we'll throw our commercial on there and like we'll donate. If you call it the Apple Open, we'll give you like $2 million to like, you know, to put towards the prize pool or whatever. That didn't get off the ground for different reasons, I think.
Yeah, they also like, probably just not as organized, definitely not as
motivated.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting paid anyway.
Yeah, so it came to be, and I hope it sticks.
Yeah, me too.
With Kerry Katz and the crew over there. Shout out to you guys. Mm-hmm. And let's see. We also, going back to our predictions from last year and how smart we were, we had some numbers about this particular podcast that we thought we would do. And I got to say, we fell a little short. But if you set your goals high, you know, and you come up short, you're still happy with it. So I thought we might be doing 2 episodes a week. Turns out we can barely do 1. I think it's going to stay at 1 for the foreseeable ever. Even if we start banging out 3 interviews a week, I'm just going to start putting them in the chamber because
that's correct.
It's hard. It's hard. If we ever get to the point where we have like a team or whatever to help us, like video editing and shit, like, or and by team I mean AI gets to the point where it can just do it for me, then maybe we'll be able to do it. But honestly, wrangling us 2 together is not that hard. But we, you know, we're the hosts. We're supposed to be able to come together. We got between setting up the poker game, setting up this, and you know, writing out the newsletter and stuff. It's not a lot of time for Arthur. So I think 1 episode a week is great. And I thought we might get to 10,000 subscribers. You know, we're only at 3,500, I think. Maybe something like that.
I think that's not bad. I know I predicted 45. I think you made me go first in this prediction. I said 4,500 because I think at the time we had like 1,000. I was like, 4.5x seems like very like optimistic. I was like, I don't want to like undersell us or anything. I was like, I'm going to pick a huge number. There's no way like Art's going to pick a bigger number. And Art's is like 10,000. I'm like, easy.
Hey man, these things grow fast, I heard.
That's true. Yeah.
But we're getting like 200 a month or something, I think is kind of our average, or 28 days, however YouTube does their little, because they track it for us, so I get to see like, you got 5 extra this month than last month. But you know, if you're not doing your part out there and you're watching this, it's just a button. All you gotta do is click it, and then you know, ignore us the rest of your life.
Yeah, tell your friends, and like seriously, like check our backlog. Like go back and watch the Freddie Deeb one. Oh my gosh, like. I'm not going to sit there and try to recreate the stories. I'm just telling you, like, don't just look at the last 2 or 3 and be like, I'm not that interested. Take a look and see some of those popular ones. The Josh Harris, the Brian Rass, like these are some gems in there.
And go in the comments and like timestamp where your favorite story starts, so other people can like go to that part if they don't want to watch the whole thing, because there are some great stories that are buried at the end of episodes, because a lot of times we forget to ask people about like degen gambling stories until like the last 5 minutes.
That's true.
And like Airball had a couple that he rattled off about going from 0 to 8 million and back again, or having a guy that like bought in for 100K and ran it down to 5K and then up to like over $1 million, or maybe it was 6 million. I don't even know, man. These guys run in different circles of money and care. So
exactly. Like Chance had a good one about like how he was on a date. He knew he was going to break up with the girl anyway, and got a text that come play a PLO game. Literally left her in the middle of like it was Michael Jackson like Cirque du Soleil or something like that. And just said, I'm out. He was like sprinting down to get it, to the point where like his feet were all bloodied up and everything. Like had to buy like towels or something. Yeah, slippers. They were white slippers that turned very pink.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's just stories like that. Like, so like, I agree with Art. Like, you know, get to the end of the episode, at least like timestamp where your favorite ones are, so other people can find them. But yeah, like there's some amazing gambling stories in there.
Yeah, and often like we're so hammered sometimes in these episodes that when I'm going back through and editing them, I just like laugh out loud at like, oh man, I don't remember this at all.
Speaking of which, shout out Joe Tehan. Again, another great one. But at the end of the episode, this guy literally walks out of the interview because I'm sick of their shit.
Yeah, it's great. I wish we could release that last 30 minutes. Anyways, we also predicted that a couple of Seans would do well during the World Series main event. I thought Sean Daniels might rip something off. He started off hot, cashed 25K for whatever, but then he fizzled out. You let me down, Sean. Yeah. You let me down. But another Sean Deeb.
Who was my prediction to do well. I think he made like 4 final tables. Yeah. But to Sean's standards, in all honesty, I think even he would say that he would be disappointed on the year. So I don't think I get any credit for that as well. The sad thing is, like, my next pick would have been Jonathan Tamayo. So like it's kind of sad that, like, you know, we didn't talk more about it, because I'm pretty sure I would have predicted him to win the main.
Yeah. I had him to fold queens, open fold them on the final table bubble. So you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
All right, really quick, guys. Phenom Poker is out now. It is live. If you want to get extra tokens, 100 extra tokens, and if you want to support Table 1, just go to joinphenompoker.com, and that will help us. Fill in your information, and you'll be on with us.
Tons of people on there, tons of action, especially until Art and I will run out of money, I think.
That's true. And we are doing some sort of free roll. Anyone who signs up through our link, we're going to eventually reveal the details on Twitter, but if you sign up through our link, we are going to go all in up to 10 times at $100 no limit until somebody wins the $100. We might stack you 10 times and you'll lose 1,000 in this promotion, but we are trying to give away 100. So if we accidentally stack you 10 times, you know, thanks. Thanks for playing. All right, joinphenompoker.com. Now!
So speaking of predictions, might as well make some for 2025 while we're here.
Yeah, might as well. I enjoy these episodes.
Yep.
The 2 that we've done now, and yeah, what should we guess?
All right. Well, let's first start with the Table 1 podcast itself. We have around 3,500 subscribers right now. So give me a goal for where you want to be at the end of 2025, and give me 2 guests that you really want to have on this year that you think we're going to get.
Ooh, that's good. That I think we're going to get is different than like the dream.
Sure, that you want, yeah,
guess.
for sure. But like, yes.
All right, that I think we're going to get. Okay, first let's do the number. I am going to temper my expectations for this year, and I'm going to say we 3x.
Okay.
I'm going to say 35 to 7 to
10.5. Yeah,
okay. So maybe we'll get to my last year's prediction.
All right.
10,500. That's my guess on that. When you want to throw a number out there while I think about my dream
Sure.
guess here?
To me, like I feel like he's more the dreamer in this situation, but like I was gonna go bigger. To his point, like I think exponentially we can ramp it up a bit. I'm gonna go 15,000. I really am.
Sweet. 10 to 15. That's the range.
That's right.
We should do something. If we don't hit it,
Something
embarrassing.
Well, no matter what, we'll throw a party at 10,000. How about that?
Yeah.
And everyone will be invited.
Ooh, nice.
All right, I'll let Art continue to think on his people, but like I already have 2 in mind anyway. So like I'm gonna go ahead and tell. Number 1 for me, I must say, is Nick Schulman. He's not like he's a close friend of mine, but like I very much enjoy listening to him at the table, listening to him talk on broadcast. I think he handles himself incredibly well through all that stuff. I think he's one of the funniest people in poker, and end of sentence, period. His comedy just lands right on my brain. He is my number 1. My number 2, and I do believe we're going to get them both, is Daniel Negreanu and his wife Amanda. I can't remember if she changed her name or not, but it used to be Amanda Leatherman or whatever. I believe they're going to be on here, and I can't wait to hear like they're going to promote their own podcast, which I've listened to and I very much enjoy. Not very much to do with poker, but cool life stuff they deal with. So like those are my top 2. Those are pretty 2 grandiose people, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get them both.
They are. That's and I think you're right. We'll get them both. I guess that'll lead me. That just leaves me, and I think I've got a kind of a. Just for me, one is our friend that plays in our game, Matt Moore. More Money. He has a famous 2+2 thread back in the day. Another kid, another dream. If you've been around poker a long time, it's kind of his journey from being just a kid from Chicago coming to Las Vegas and trying to make poker his profession. And
that's a good one.
Tons of great stories along the way, and I'd love to have him on and come and tell him, because we keep pestering him to come, and he's like, I'm not ready for this yet. But I mean, even in the comments, people have mentioned his name specifically because his name comes up from time to time because he plays in our game. And yeah, I want to hear. He's told some funny stories at the table. Hopefully, there's at least 25% of them that I think are fit for television. So won't embarrass him fully to his
that's fair,
to his family. And then the other one, we'll go big time. Phil Hellmuth. Want to get the man on the pod and pick his brain about some stuff that I feel like he probably doesn't get asked about too much on poker podcasts, which is like his angel investing, his founder stuff. Like he's always promoting and touting, lifting other people up, and his positivity. I don't know. It's so cool of someone to like brand themselves as Mr. Positivity when they have temper tantrums all the time at the poker table, and it's like you can kind of see him. He's dangling his own carrot, like I'm saying I'm positive because I want to be positive, and I think people would say he doesn't really blow up as much as he used to, and it's working. So I'd love to get him on and have that conversation. So
no, for sure. And again, he's another one that has said he will come on. So we just got to do some more pestering, and I'm sure they'll all say yes, and we can get him into this lovely studio. So let's do a couple quick predictions for WSOP 2025, and then we can kind of wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, first year that GG has it.
Right.
It's going to be massive, right? Like they're going to do a lot of online satellites, a lot of qualifiers. We might hit I'm going to say all-time high on entrance.
I think that's safe, yeah.
They'll probably make it a 6x multi-entry. No, please don't. please
yeah.
don't do it to the main. But how many did we get this year? 7,000 or 12,000? I really have
it was like
I know
9,500, I want to say.
Okay, let's hit 11,000 this year, guys.
Yeah.
We can get 11,000 people out here. Bitcoin's soaring. GG owns the brand. Bitcoin 250,000 by then too, I'm sure. That's my prediction for entries.
I take over 11,000 just for all the points that he had mentioned. I think GG's going to dump a lot of money, not to mention all the satellites they're going to run leading up to this. I think it's going to get massive. I think GG's a big enough brand to where they're going to start running live satellites, not just online ones, like around the world, some in the US as well. I hope all that's true. So give me give me one name that you think is going to make a deep run.
Do you think Tamayo's going to go back to back?
Don't say Art Parman because I will leave.
I've got enough incentive for that to happen. Can I pick you? You're hot, baby.
You think that's going to last?
Are you going to watch any more Jaffe videos?
I probably will, actually, yeah.
I mean, you're hot. You're bagging tournaments. All right, I won't pick you because I already like you.
Fair enough.
Who do I think is going to make a deep run in the WSOP main event? I'm going to pick the guy who is currently running deep in the WPT main event and who also was recently on this podcast, Chris Moorman.
Yeah, shout out to him. He's just mashing right now.
Yeah.
Chip leader with 16 left.
Yeah, he seems like he's got his, not that he ever like didn't have his shit together except for when he was backing people, but no, having never met him, he seemed very like Zen state and like happy with his life, and I think he's just gonna go on a tear this year and just start ripping up everything. He's gonna be in the top 40 PGT thing if he wants to be.
It's a good name, and by the way, go back and watch that. And just another after hours. I'm not going to tell the story or whatever, but he told a story that like literally had me on the floor. What a funny guy. Wish him all the best. Hope he crushes this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm between two people right now, both friends of mine, selfishly, but like two guys that I think would be great ambassadors for poker and already are to an extent, but like I want them on the national stage. Eric Baldwin, who is one of the best guys in poker, personality-wise and moral-wise, and just across the board. And I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is. Like just because he doesn't play all the 25Ks or 50Ks doesn't mean he's not one of the best poker players alive on this planet. And in the same breath as that, Ankush Madivya is.
Ankush.
He is another one that like generally plays like a lot more 1Ks to like 3Ks, maybe some 5 and 10Ks mixed in, but like doesn't play the high roller circuit, and I don't think he gets enough credit either. I think he's a special poker player as well that doesn't get the accolades that other people do.
And there's a lot of guys like that I would love to have on the podcast because they're not very public people.
That's right.
And at the table, they'll have like really funny one-liners, or they'll like among their friends or like people like in their circle kind of, they're known as like really sharp and witty, and like they'll just, just jovial, happy people that like just have really good poker faces, and they're just thinking because they're fucking smart when they're playing poker, instead of like us who are just like, cocktails come around in a while? It has been a minute. And so that's kind of a goal for this year for me. I mean, it might lower, I don't know if it'll lower our views to have Eric Baldwin on the podcast. I think he would be great.
No,
but just guys that like haven't really done a bunch of podcasts and haven't really thrown, like, because like a lot of the guys we have on, like, they're kind of doing a rehearsed number, like Brian Rass obviously has been on a bunch of podcasts for like his bike prop bet, which was sick, by the way. You should
go back and watch that.
But like they have their stories that they tell. David Williams, excellent speaker, great stories, but like he's told them before to other people. So I'd like to get some stories that haven't been told, that just like, I don't know, just because I'm curious.
No, of course. Like my favorite episodes aren't like my best friends. They're the ones I barely know, but I know that like there's something in there that they're a little quiet, but like no one just quietly becomes like a successful poker player. There's some bumps, there's some hurdles, ditches, whatever.
Yeah, and it's just I can't wait to see what this year is going to bring. So, do we have anything else worth predicting? I feel like.
I predict I'm going to have a winning year this year.
Oh, well, let's not get carried away.
I predict I won't die.
Maybe we'll triple our ad revenue. Shout out to Gauntlet.xyz.
There you go. But yeah, guys, again, personally for me, shout out to Art. He does literally everything outside of sit in this seat and talk a lot when they're drunk. He does all the editing, the promotions, like literally everything. This whole production is 98% him, and I just want to say thank you.
Justin's wife got us into Card Player Magazine, though, and so Justin, he's pulling his weight. I mean, and also
accidentally.
Also yesterday I was at the poker table. I won't say who I was talking to because they're just a kid. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's because it's about me. And I was talking to this guy, and he was just kind of trying to figure out if he knew me because Jeremy kept talking to me like I was like a person and not just a guy who knows who Jeremy is. So this guy, he kept like casually like saying things to me, and then eventually he's like, "Hey, what's your name, by the way?" And I'm like, "Art," and he's like, "Oh, no." He said, "I'm also Art." There's a hint.
Okay,
it was Arthur Morris. Anyways, and then he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He figures out, tries to basically ask me like what the hell, what am I doing here?
Why is Jeremy talking to you?
Yeah, why is Jeremy talking to you?
Does he owe you money?
Yeah, so I told him, I run a game at Aria, a 5100 game or whatever. And he's like, oh, okay. And then I was like, he's like, wait, you run it like at Aria at the casino? And I was like, yeah, well, Justin Young? And he's like, oh, table one? And I'm like, okay, Justin does a lot for this podcast that isn't the back work because most people they don't know anything about me, which is fine. I don't really care. I enjoy the conversations and the editing, but like I'll wear the table one thing. Like I was sitting in the 10K. I was sitting next to Matt Affleck, and he was just sitting next to me, and at the beginning I made some joke, and he said. He had looked at my bag or whatever, the day 2 draw, and he says, okay, I'm gonna slow roll you now, Julian, or whatever. And like he's, whatever, that's my first name for those that don't know, and I put it on my bag, and I just laughed, and then he was at my table, so I thought the cameras might come around, so I pull out my Table 1 Vegas patch, and I slap it on my shirt, and I say, oh, just in case anybody comes over here, make a little show of it. And then I saw him go on his phone, and and then all of a sudden he starts talking to me about the podcast. And he actually
I love it.
The funny thing is, he says he has watched a couple of them, and he was like, "Which one was your favorite one to do?" And I say one, and he's like, "Oh, I like the one with Len Ashby," and I'm like, "Well, everybody likes that one." Yeah. And then I told him the fun fact about the Len Ashby episode, which is my microphone actually went out like 20% of the way in. Yeah. And for the entire editing process, I don't know if I told this story on the podcast or not before, but for those that don't know, I went back. I was listening to the episode, and Justin's here, Len is here, I'm over here, and at that point we only had 2 of these microphones, and my little one just died, like whatever. Like I said, 20% of the way through, and I can still hear what I say though through their microphones, but it's obviously muffled. You can't really hear it that well. So I'm editing it. It took me an extra couple hours to edit it because every time I said something, I just said into the microphone at the editing thing the same thing that I said in the episode. So I'm like, what about this, Len?
It was like a kung fu movie back in like the 70s or whatever. It was like,
it really was. It's like,
how are you doing today?
It's like our only episode where I like consistently zoom in on you guys just to cut myself talking out because just because I don't feel like doing it on this part. So yeah, if you want to watch an old kung fu movie, it doesn't really matter what I say in that episode because Len is
he can carry the show regardless.
Exactly, just like he did in his most recent episode where we talked about Clint Keon and all the prop betting stories,
which is well worth it.
I'm sure everyone's seen that one. That's a popular one.
But yeah, like just again to reiterate, thank you guys, the viewers, the people that click the like, the subscribe, the ones that tell their friends about it, the ones that actually talk about it at the table with me or other friends or whatever to kind of spread the word. Obviously it'd be great if we blow this up, but like that's never been the goal. We just want to have fun and kind of get these fun gambling stories out there to the poker community and the gambling community, really. And the best way to do it is word of mouth, and that is more on you guys. So I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, use your mouths or your mouse. Or I guess these days your little finger tapper.
Yeah.
Okay, is that the pod?
I think so.
All right.
All right, thanks guys.
Bye guys.